Have you ever had one of those mornings where you wake up and just lie there for a moment, staring at the ceiling, because you know the second you move, your joints are going to complain about it? Maybe it's your knees, maybe it's your hands, or maybe your hips feel like they've aged 10 years overnight. You're not alone if that sounds familiar. In fact, it's one of the most common things I hear from folks over 60. I just want to move without pain. You reach for a cup of coffee, maybe stretch your fingers and feel that tightness in the joints, and think, well, I guess this is just how it is now. But what if I told you it doesn't have to be? What if there were a few simple changes, nothing extreme, that could actually ease that stiffness, soothe that discomfort, and give you back a sense of freedom in your body? Now, I'm not here to promise miracles. I know arthritis is real. It's frustrating, it's tiring, and it can feel like it's slowly stealing your independence. But here's the good news: there are small steps you can take every single day that can make a world of difference. In this video, we're going to talk about 4 simple but powerful changes you can make to help ease arthritis pain and take better care of your joints. These aren't complicated medical treatments or expensive gadgets, just practical things you can start doing right at home. Let's start with something that's often overlooked but incredibly powerful: how you move. I know, when your joints hurt, the last thing you want to do is move more. But here's the surprising truth: staying still actually makes things worse. The less we move, the stiffer our joints get. Our bodies were built to move, and when we don't, it's like they start to lock up, especially around the places where arthritis tends to settle in. Think about it this way. Have you ever had a garden hose that's been sitting in the sun too long? It gets stiff, right? But once water starts flowing through it again, it loosens up. That's kind of how your joints work, too. Movement keeps everything flowing and flexible. Now, I'm not talking about hitting the gym or running laps. I mean gentle, regular movement, things like stretching in the morning, walking around the house, or even just rotating your ankles and wrists while watching TV. A little bit, every day, adds up. And the more consistent you are, the more your body will thank you. I know a gentleman, he's in his 70s now, who swore by a 5-minute stretching routine he started every morning. At first, he said it felt silly. He was stiff, uncomfortable, and didn't think 5 minutes would make a difference. But after a couple of weeks, he said it was the first time in years that his knees didn't creak when he stood up. 5 minutes. That's it. No fancy equipment, no trainers, just a few deep breaths and gentle stretches right beside his bed. The key is to keep it gentle and consistent. Your joints are like old friends. They need a little warming up before they're ready to go dancing again. And here's something important to remember: it's not about pushing through pain. It's about waking up your body with kindness. If something hurts, back off. Move in a way that feels nourishing. Your body is always talking to you, you just have to listen. Now, speaking of what your body is telling you, let's talk about something that plays a huge role in arthritis, and that's what you put on your plate. Yep, food. The things we eat every day can either add fuel to the fire or help put it out. And when it comes to arthritis, inflammation is the fire. That's the real troublemaker here. It's what causes the swelling, the stiffness, and the pain in your joints. Some foods are like little sparks, quietly lighting inflammation from the inside without us realizing it. Things like processed snacks, sugary drinks, fried foods, and those salty, shelf-stable meals, they may taste good in the moment, but over time, they create more inflammation in the body. And guess where that inflammation loves to settle? Your joints. But don't worry, this isn't about giving up everything you love. It's about finding balance and adding in more of the good stuff. There are certain foods that naturally help fight inflammation. Think colorful vegetables, fruits like berries, healthy fats from olive oil or avocados, and fatty fish like salmon. Even spices like turmeric and ginger can work wonders over time. A woman I once met at a local gardening club started adding a small cup of warm turmeric tea to her evening routine. Nothing fancy, just turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, a bit of honey, and warm water. After a couple of months, she said her fingers didn't feel nearly as stiff in the mornings. Now, is it magic? No. But it's a small shift that made a noticeable difference for her. That's what we're after here, little victories that add up. You don't need to overhaul your whole diet overnight. Just try adding one anti-inflammatory food to your meals each day. Maybe a handful of walnuts in your oatmeal or a drizzle of olive oil over your salad. Maybe switch out your white bread for whole grain or add a serving of leafy greens to your dinner. Small steps, big results. And let's not forget about water. Staying hydrated is something that gets overlooked all the time. When we're even a little dehydrated, our joints feel it. That cushiony fluid between your joints? It needs water. If you're not drinking enough, your joints don't glide as easily, they rub, they ache, they swell. You don't have to chug gallons, just sip steadily throughout the day. Keep a glass nearby. Add a slice of lemon if you like a little flavor. Every sip helps. So, gentle movement and nourishing your body, two simple but powerful tools that are fully within your control. And that's really the heart of all this, isn't it? Taking back a little bit of control. Because arthritis can make you feel powerless, like your body is slipping out of your hands. But the truth is, you still have a say. You can still make choices that help you feel better, move better, and live better. Now that we've talked about movement and nutrition, let's move on to something that often gets overlooked, but plays a major role in how our joints feel every single day. Your stress. Yes, I know, that one might be surprising. Most people think stress just affects the mind. You get tense, you feel anxious, maybe your stomach gets a little tight. But here's the thing most folks don't realize, stress shows up in your body, too. And when you're living with arthritis, it can show up in the worst possible places, your joints. Think about the last time you were really stressed, maybe something with your family, your finances, or even a doctor's appointment that had you worrying. Did your shoulders tighten up? Did your neck feel stiff? Did your hands ache just a little more than usual? That's not in your head. That's real. Stress creates inflammation in the body, and as we said earlier, inflammation is like fuel for arthritis pain. So the more stress you carry around with you, the more your joints are likely to speak up, and not in a good way. But here's the encouraging part, managing stress doesn't mean you have to suddenly become a monk or spend hours meditating every day. It just means finding little pockets of calm in your day. Things that help your body breathe a little easier. Things that help your mind feel a little lighter. For some people, that's something as simple as sitting outside in the morning with a cup of tea and listening to the birds. No phone, no TV, just a few quiet minutes to feel the breeze and breathe. For others, it might be listening to soft music, reading a good book, or even praying or journaling. Whatever helps you let go of the tension, even a little, is worth making time for. One woman I met in a local arthritis support group shared something I loved. She said, "Every morning, I close my eyes and say 3 things I'm grateful for, even if they're small. My warm bed, the cup of coffee I'm about to have, the fact that my dog is always happy to see me. And you know what? It sets the tone for my whole day." That's the kind of simple, powerful practice that shifts your body's stress response. It's gentle. It's doable. And it sends a message to your joints, we're safe. You don't need to panic today. Breathing is another tool you already have. Deep, slow breaths are like a massage for your nervous system. When you breathe deeply, your heart rate slows down, your blood pressure eases, and your muscles start to relax. It tells your body, we're okay. And when your body feels safe, inflammation tends to back off a little, too. Try this sometime today. Sit back, close your eyes, and breathe in slowly for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Then breathe out for 4. Do that just 3 times. That's it. You don't need to sit cross-legged or chant, just breathe. I promise, it'll make a difference. Even a small change in how you handle stress can ripple through your whole body. Less tension, more ease, and a little less pain. Now, while we're talking about easing up on pressure, let's shift to another huge factor that often gets overlooked, your footwear. You might be thinking, really? My shoes? But yes. Absolutely, yes. The shoes you wear have a direct impact on your joints, especially if you have arthritis in your knees, hips, or lower back. Think of your feet as the foundation of your entire body. If that foundation isn't solid or supported, everything above it, your ankles, knees, hips, even your spine, has to work harder. That creates stress in the joints and, you guessed it, more pain. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people switch to more joint-friendly shoes and notice their pain improve almost overnight. Let me tell you about a gentleman named Carl. He's in his early 70s and has been dealing with arthritis in his knees for over a decade. He told me once, "I tried everything, creams, pills, exercises. Nothing helped much." Then, someone suggested he look at his shoes. Turns out, he was still wearing an old pair of loafers that didn't support his arches at all. Once he switched to a supportive pair of walking shoes, with a cushioned sole and a wide toe box, he couldn't believe the difference. He said, "I stood up and didn't feel like my knees were screaming at me. I felt balanced." Now, I'm not saying shoes are going to cure arthritis, but they can absolutely reduce strain on your joints. Think of it as giving your knees and hips a break. Look for shoes with good arch support, shock absorption, and a little bit of cushioning, especially around the heels. If you're not sure what kind to get, a visit to a proper shoe store, maybe one that specializes in walking or orthopedic footwear, can really help. They'll often let you try things on and walk around to see what feels best. And believe me, comfort matters more than fashion. Although, these days, there are some pretty stylish options that don't sacrifice support. Some people even benefit from custom insoles or orthotics, especially if they have issues with balance or posture. It's worth talking to your doctor or podiatrist about it if your feet tend to hurt by the end of the day. And if you're someone who goes barefoot around the house a lot, consider switching to a pair of supportive slippers instead. Walking barefoot on hard floors might feel freeing, but it can actually cause more harm to arthritic joints, especially if there's no padding to absorb the impact. Think of your joints like the hinges on a door. If the door is hung on an uneven frame or slams shut all the time, those hinges wear down faster. But if the frame is solid and the movement is cushioned and smooth, those hinges can last for decades. Your shoes are that solid frame. They either help or hurt the way you move. So give your joints the support they need from the ground up. And while we're thinking about support, let's not forget the power of a good routine. When your body knows what to expect, it tends to settle. Predictability helps reduce stress and improve sleep, digestion, and yes, even pain levels. Maybe your routine starts with that turmeric tea or morning stretch we talked about earlier. Maybe it includes a short walk after lunch or a few deep breaths before bed. Whatever it looks like, building a rhythm into your day gives your body a sense of structure. And with arthritis, structure is your friend. None of this has to be perfect. It just has to be yours, something that fits naturally into your life, something you can come back to even on the days when things don't go as planned. That's the beauty of all these little changes. They don't demand a huge overhaul. They meet you where you are, at home, in your shoes, with your breath, in your routine, and slowly, gently, they start to ease the pressure on your joints and give you a little more space to breathe, to move, to live. And now that we've covered stress and how your body carries it, not to mention your footwear and how it supports, or strains, your joints, let's take a look at the final change that just might be the most surprising of them all. Your sleep. Now, I know what you might be thinking, sleep? What does that have to do with my joints hurting? Well, more than you might expect. The truth is, sleep is one of the most powerful healers we have, and yet it's also one of the most neglected, especially as we get older. We tend to brush it off, say things like, "Oh, I don't need much sleep," or "I've just always been a light sleeper." But poor sleep can be like pouring gasoline on the fire of arthritis pain. You see, while you're sleeping, your body is actually working hard. It's repairing cells, calming inflammation, and giving your immune system a chance to reset. If that sleep gets cut short or never reaches the deep, restful stage your body needs, then your joints don't get the break they're hoping for. The result? You wake up feeling stiff, swollen, achy, and sometimes even more tired than when you went to bed. But let's be honest. Getting good sleep after 60 isn't always easy. Whether it's joint pain waking you up at night, a noisy neighborhood, or just that restless feeling that hits around 2 a.m., many people struggle with it. The good news is, there are some gentle changes that can really help. For starters, let's talk about your sleep space. Is your bedroom a place that invites rest? Sometimes even simple tweaks can make a big difference. Think about the light. If there's too much of it, street lights through the window, the glow of a TV screen, even a bright alarm clock, it can trick your brain into thinking it's still daytime. A darker room signals your body to produce melatonin, the hormone that helps you drift into sleep. So, a blackout curtain or even a soft mask might be just the thing to try. Then there's temperature. Our bodies naturally cool down at night, and a too warm room can make it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. Aim for a slightly cool bedroom. Something around 65 degrees tends to work well for most people. And while you're at it, check your bedding. A weighted blanket, a cooling mattress topper, or even a good body pillow can make a huge difference, especially if you're trying to sleep with painful joints. Now here's another tip that might surprise you: stretching before bed. Not intense exercise, not a full yoga routine, just a few gentle stretches that loosen up stiff joints and send a message to your body that it's time to rest. Maybe that means sitting in a chair and rolling your ankles, reaching your arms overhead, or lightly stretching your hips and lower back. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be kind. And kindness matters, especially self-kindness. Because sometimes the hardest part of sleep isn't the body. It's the mind. Worries, to-do lists, memories, they all seem to come alive the moment our heads hit the pillow. That's why having a wind-down routine can help. Something you do every night, in the same order, like brushing your teeth, dimming the lights, reading a chapter of a good book, and doing a few deep breaths. Your brain starts to recognize the pattern and says, yes. We're heading into rest now. Avoiding screens before bed, TV, phones, tablets, can help too. The blue light they give off can mess with your brain's ability to shut down. If you like to watch something in the evening, try doing it earlier, then switching to something quieter, like soft music or a podcast you enjoy. And if pain is keeping you up at night, don't be afraid to talk to your doctor about it. Sometimes a small adjustment, whether it's timing your pain relief medication a little differently, using a joint wrap or topical cream, or getting advice on a better sleeping position, can make the nights far more comfortable. One woman I know, Margaret, used to dread bedtime. Her arthritis flared up the moment she got still, and she'd lie there awake for hours. But once she added an evening routine, gentle stretching, chamomile tea, a warm bath, and her favorite classical music, she said it changed everything. Now my body knows what to expect, she told me. And it finally lets go. Isn't that what we all want at the end of the day? A chance to let go. To soften. To feel comforted. That's what good sleep does, not just for your energy, but for your pain. Because when your body gets the deep rest it needs, everything feels a little easier the next morning. Joints are looser, mood is brighter, and the day starts on a stronger foot. And when you combine that with the other small changes we've talked about, gentle movement, joint-friendly foods, a bit of stress relief, supportive shoes, you start to build a life that arthritis can't run. A life that feels a little more like yours again. It's not about being perfect. It's not about waking up pain-free every day. It's about giving yourself more good days than bad ones. More moments of ease. More confidence in your body. More freedom to do the things you love, whether that's gardening, cooking, walking with friends, or simply being able to get up from a chair without wincing. And you deserve that. You've earned that. So if you're watching this and thinking, well, it's too late for me, I want to stop you right there. It's never too late to feel better. Not at 60, not at 70, not even at 90. The body is always listening. Always responding. Even the smallest shift, one more stretch, one more veggie on your plate, one more minute of breathing, can start to tip the scales toward less pain and more freedom. Just take it one step at a time. And if you found any of these tips helpful today, maybe something sparked a little hope or gave you an idea you want to try, I'd love to hear about it. Leave a comment below and let me know, what's one small change you're going to make for your joints this week? Your story might just inspire someone else watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click that like button. It really helps others find this kind of helpful content. And if you'd like more videos like this, full of practical tips for living well after 60, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're building a warm, supportive community here, and we'd love to have you be a part of it. Here's to less pain, more joy, and feeling good in the body you're in, because you're not done yet. Not even close. You're just getting started.